Just don't want to look into the evidence. Hopefully they'll come home.
The three Duka brothers, along with their Palestinian-American friend Mohammed Schnoor, are serving sentences of life plus 30 years. Hanan Schnoor is the sister of Mohammed Schnoor. She's also married to Elvir Duka. She says the men are not terrorists.
They're not that kind of people. They're normal people, not maniacs, like the way they made them seem. Mostly, I think it's Muslims are now a target for American government, and that's mostly the purpose, I know.
200 miles from the Duka house, Fatima Hussein, covered in a full veil, is busy running a pizzeria in downtown Albany. While caring for her 6 children, aged 4 to 18, she works from morning to night making pizza. She and her husband, Mohammed Hussein, are Bangladeshi immigrants. Her husband was arrested in 2004, along with the imam of the local mosque, in a money laundering scheme the FBI claims was related to terrorism. Fatima still has trouble explaining what happened to her family.
This is not easy answer to tell that what happened. It still is, to me, look like something like broke on your head. My husband, he is really hard-working man. I wish you can have a chance to meet with him. Everybody know him, all the local people, as he's delivery man, fixing house, taking care of family. His life turned different, like tragedy.
Last night, FBI agents in Albany, New York, arrested 2 men, 34-year-old Yassin Muhyiddin Aref and 49-year-old Mohammed Musharraf Hussein.
In August of 2004, Mohammed Hussein and Yassin Aref, neither of whom had any criminal record, were arrested and accused of being terrorists. 2 years later, they were convicted of money laundering and conspiracy to support terrorism and sentenced to 15 years in prison.
The Muslim community is standing strong and speaking out as 2 of their members learn their fate.
They are not terrorists. They had no criminal record. They had no interest of any violation of laws or so. Simply, they were tricked.
Supporters of the 2 men say Mohammed Hussein thought he was just getting a loan from a Pakistani man who had recently befriended him. He enlisted the imam Yassin Aref, who is a Kurdish refugee from Iraq, to witness the loan. What they didn't know at the time was that the National Security Agency had been secretly wiretapping Yassin Aref's phone calls, and the loan was part of an FBI sting operation. The generous Pakistani man was in fact an FBI informant.
Homegrown terror or entrapment? We'll come back to this documentary by Democracy Now!'s Anjali Kamat and Jackie Suen of Big Noise Films. Stay with us. What do you go home to? By explosions in the sky. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. We return now to Anjali Kamat and Jackie Suen's Homegrown Terror or Entrapment. This is Democracy Now! As we return to a report on the FBI's use of undercover informants in domestic terror cases. The report focuses on the Newburgh 4 case, where jury deliberations are set to begin today, over whether 4 African-American men from Newburgh, New York, are guilty of conspiring to attack a synagogue and Jewish community center in the Bronx. The report also looks at 2 older cases, that of the Fort Dix 5 young men from suburban New Jersey who were convicted last year of conspiring to attack U.S. soldiers at the Fort Dix Army base, and a case in Albany, New York, where 2 men were convicted in 2007 of money laundering and conspiring to support terrorism.
Like the case of the Fort Dix 5 and the Newburgh 4, no terrorist crime was actually committed in Albany. No bombs went off, nothing was blown up, no one was killed or even injured. All 3 cases rest on fake plots concocted by the FBI and rely heavily on hundreds of hours of surveillance video and audio secretly recorded by a paid government informant. Karen Greenberg from New York University's Center on Law and Security says informants have become a crucial part of the post-9/11 domestic counterterrorism strategy.
The use of informants in the 50 most high-profile terrorism cases since 9/11 is 62%. The conviction rate for those cases that involved informants is almost 100%. It's 97%. So that gives you a kind of sense of how important they are and how useful they've been.
The FBI did not respond to our request for an interview, but we did speak to a former FBI agent who worked with multiple informants during his 35 years at the Bureau. James Weddick told us that informants are unreliable sources.
Look, informants are the most dangerous individuals on the planet. If you don't monitor them, something can go wrong.
A former street agent, Weddick says the line between uncovering terrorist plots and creating them has become increasingly blurry.
I'll venture to say in 90% of the cases that you see that have occurred in the last 10 years are garbage.
In Albany, the FBI used an informant named Shahid Hussain. He was a Pakistani businessman who fled his country after being arrested 3 times on charges that included murder. He wound up in Albany, New York in 1994, where he set up an illegal license scheme while working as a translator at the Department of Motor Vehicles. Shamshad Ahmed is the president of the As-Salam Mosque in Albany.
Living in a suburb where there are other Pakistanis, he was known to them. And people did not have a good opinion about him. They knew that he is cunning, he is deceptive, he cheats. Later on we found out that he was also known in the community that he can arrange illegal licenses.
The feds caught on to Shahid Hussein's license scam, and in 2003 he was arrested in a sting operation. But as Muslim communities in America came under increased scrutiny after 9/11, Shahid Hussein proved to be very useful. He was a Muslim willing to spy on fellow Muslims in exchange for amnesty. Instead of sending him to jail or deporting him, he got off on a plea deal, and the FBI hired him as an informant.
When you're dealing with informants, you're dealing with people who have been convicted of or threatened with conviction or found in the act of some kind of criminality. And there is everything in their interest to make sure that they do what the FBI wants.
In the summer of 2003, the informant showed up at Mohammed Hussein's pizzeria in Albany, posing as a wealthy businessman with ties to militant groups in Pakistan. Mohammed Hussein's wife, Fatima, recalls how persistent the informant was in trying to befriend them.
This person kept coming to me, and that couple of times I told my husband, I says, look like he's keep coming, I don't know what is his intention or anything.
The informant drew Mohammed Hussein into extended debates about jihad. Across hours of secretly recorded conversations, the informant repeatedly brought up American foreign policy and the role of militant Islam.
The defendant is recorded saying, look, I'm not really into violent jihad. That's not really what I'm about. And the informant keeps coming back and saying, are you sure, are you sure?
Then, as Mohammed Hussein's pizza business began to fail, the informant made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Economically, we was a little bit crisis situation, so we didn't go bank. And he was saying, brother, I am your brother. If you need some money, so I can be, maybe you can borrow from me and give it to me.
The informant offered Mohammed Hussein a loan of $45,000 and a gift of $5,000. The imam of the mosque, Yasin Araf, was brought in to witness the loan. At a few points, the informant told the men he was a member of the Pakistan-based terrorist group Jaish-e-Mohammed, or JEM. On one occasion, he showed the pizzeria owner Mohammed Hussein a part of a missile and later made obscure references to a fictitious JEM plot to assassinate a Pakistani diplomat in New York with a missile.
He did say it was for weaponry. I think it was for a missile in this case, and he did say that it was for a terrorist cause. And so